Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mad Meta Magic, where we try to make the magic meta mad. Today, we've got hammer time. So, apologies, but I can't do a lot of things on Moto right now because my computer is running so slow, because I have a multi-threaded video process thing going on in the background. So hopefully, this video does not get annihilated by that. But the whole idea is we stick Colossus Hammer on a whole bunch of creatures that will kill our opponent instantly or within 2 swings. We cheat it on with Magnetic Theft, or Sigarda's Aid. We try and stick it on Core Duelist, we'll give it protection, swing in. We have 1 Ink Moth Nexus. This deck should be playing 4, I just don't have 4 and can't afford 4. And of course, we have a whole bunch of decent mono-red protection in the sideboard. We have Lurrus, because all of our deck costs so little. And yeah, without any further ado, let's go ahead and take Hammer Time into a Constructed League. Round 1, here we go. Alright, reveal Lurrus. 2 Core Duelists, 4 lands, and a Faith Shield. Nope. Grandpa Biceps. Alright, we are definitely mulliganing this hand, though. We have much better hands than this. Steel Shaper's Gift, Sigarda's Aid, Ink Moth Nexus. That, this looks like a good hand. We'll keep. I'm going to put back a Plains. Alright, opponent Inquisitions. That's unfortunate. Opponent did mulligan to 6, though, so... If I were my opponent, I would definitely take Sigarda's Aid here. This deck has more ways to find Hammer Time than it does to equip it. So, okay. Our turn. We draw Core Duelist, so play Flooded Strand, crack Flooded Strand, get a Sacred Foundry, untapped, and Steel Shaper's Gift, Colossus Hammer, pass the turn. I mean, we might just get wrecked by more discard, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. The plan right now is to get Core Duelist down with Swift Boots on it, and hopefully draw Magnetic Theft along the way. Okay, my opponent plays a Dark Confidant. Hey, Magnetic Theft. So, play Ink Moth Nexus. Play Boots. Pass the turn. Opponent reveals Prismatic Vista. So, I considered playing Duelist and Hammer. Well then. Opponent should take Duelist here, I think. Well, no, opponent should take Hammer or Theft. Because we have an Ink Moth Nexus on board. If they have an answer for Nexus, as in like a bolt or something, that they can hit it in response to a Theft, they'll take Duelist. Yep. Figured as much. Opponent gets in for 2. They're not playing the Prismatic Vista pre-combat. Okay. We draw Plains. Play a Plains. Play Hammer. Pass the turn. Lightning Skelemental. There's something you don't see every day. This is not Jund. This is some kind of janky discard unearth Skelemental damage deck. Problem is, my opponent plays Skelemental. We have no way to stop that, and we're just going to discard our hand here. So we're taking 8, and we're losing our hand. Yeah, okay. Opponent sacrifices Skelemental. We untap. Draw Stoneforge Mystic. So play Stoneforge Mystic. We'll go ahead and get Shadow Spear. And we're going to equip Stoneforge with Swiftfoot Boots. Because having a hexproof creature here would be ideal. If my opponent just has Fatal Push now, that'll suck. Our opponent's deck is very good versus ours, because our deck is a combo deck and an aggro deck, and my opponent has cheap creature removal and cheap hand disruption, so... This is like Jund without green. Alright, opponent reveals a Bloodstained Mire. We could just win if we draw Magnetic Theft. Thoughtseize, they take Shadow Spear from us, they go to 9. Get in for 2, we go to 5. If we top deck Magnetic Theft, and our opponent does not have removal, we win. Okay, play Spellskite. Pass the turn. I actually think giving Spellskite hexproof is bad. If I recall, you can't change the target of something that has hexproof. you have to give it hexproof after the target's been changed for it to fizzle the spell. Okay, opponent pushes. Yep. Attack for 2. We go to 3. Opponent has untapped red mana. Are we dead to bolt? Yep. We're never not dead to bolt. Okay, so our opponent has bolts, pushes, and a whole bunch of hand disruption. So what can we do about this? Because we're running Luris, unfortunately, we do not have like ley lines or anything like that. We're already running a bunch of protection spells in the main. Abolisher's kind of nice. Firewalker can protect itself from bolts and can block a couple damage points off of, what's it called? Skelemental. I kind of like Boros Charm. It is a little expensive. Path is actually pretty good. I think we're going to run Path instead of Brave the Elements. Yeah, we're going to drop our 1 mana protection spells and bring in Paths instead. Because if we can Path Confidant and Skelemental, it seems like our opponent's deck would not be able to take advantage of that much mana. At least better than we could. And stopping their card advantage means that we can probably top deck better than them. But we'll see. Alrighty, we'll play first. Reveal Luris. Okay, we do have Aid, Duelist, and Stoneforge Mystic. So we'll keep. We are going to start Aid here. Opponent is almost certainly going to start Inquisition. Let's see what they take. Honestly, at this point, they might take Swiftfoot Boots. Stoneforge Mystic. They don't want us tutoring for Hammer. Alright, well, we're going to fetch up a basic Plains. And I think we just play Spellskite. We do have 2 things that could wear a Colossus Hammer. We're going to force our opponent to start using their removal. If we draw another land, we can play Core Duelist and then play Swiftfoot Boots. It might be a big ask for our opponent to not have Hand Hate and removal, though. Okay, Thoughtseize. They take Core Outfitter. Okay, we need to draw a land here. Perfect. Play Duelist. I know we can cast this as though we have Flash, but we have Spellskite to protect. So, suit up Core Duelist. Go to combat. And attack for 2. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Plague Engineer. Oh, they can name Core. How rude. So that's why they took Outfitter and not Duelist. Interesting. Well, Steel Shaper's Gift. I'll take Colossus Hammer. We will play this and suit up Spellskite. Problem is that has Death Touch. So I think we're going to wait until we draw a Path or another creature that can equip Colossus Hammer like a Core Outfitter at this point. The good news is we can block down Skelementals all day. Ashiok Dreamrender, preventing us from searching our library. And our opponent just milled 2 Path to Exiles, which would be one of the cards we would be very interested in drawing right now. A second Sigarda's Aid. Okay. I think we're just going to attack our opponent. They should block with Plague Engineer. It has Death Touch. We don't have Trample. Yeah. Okay. We'll play a redundant Sigarda's Aid. Pass the turn. Alright. When it mills more creatures, we get a Stoneforge. Play it. We can't search. Equip it. Opponent bolts it. Alright. Pass the turn. Opponent is top decked basically only lands. There goes our Shadow Spear. We untap. Draw Flooded Strand. Play it. We're not going to crack it. We can't search anyway. Kalitas. Trader of Get. Okay. We untap. Draw Steel Shaper's Gift, which doesn't do anything, so we're going to wait. Kind of looking to draw Core Outfitter right now. Alright, opponent is going to make us discard. That's fine. We are taking 9, though. Discard Steel Shaper's Gift. They lose Skelemental. We untap. We draw Magnetic Theft. Pass the turn. Still need a creature. They attack for 3 and take us to 3. We're at 3 life and our opponent has untapped red mana, so we're dead to bolt. Inquisition. Okay. It's just like bad manners Inquisition. It's always bolt. If you're at 3 life, or I guess I don't know about you, but if I'm at 3 life and my opponent has untapped red mana, I lose on the spot. It's always bolt. Every single time. Opponent never not has it. In fact, in the history of the last entirety I've been streaming, it has happened 1 time that my opponent did not bolt me at 3. And considering the prevalence of bolt in Modern, that's impressive. See you guys in round 2. Alright. Round 2, here we go. We'll play first. Reveal Lurrus. Being on the play, I feel like, is a significant advantage for this deck. Alright, we'll keep. We'll play Sigarda's Aid, pass the turn. You know, I guess I could have put Lurrus in my hand last match. I'm now thinking about that. But at the same time, like, it would have just immediately gotten discarded because my opponent had been sitting on Inquisition, so I don't think it mattered that much. Play Inspiring Vantage. Play Spellskite, pass the turn. Second Swift Spear. They attack. We'll block. Untap. Draw planes. Play planes. Play Colossus Hammer. Suit up Spellskite. It is now a 10-14. Go to combat. Oh, opponent concedes. We also had to merge unscathed to force it through next turn, so I think that was fair. Alright, so fun times. We now play a whole hell of a lot of creatures that have protection from red. So, Core Firewalkers, in. Burrenton Forge Tenders, in. What comes out? I actually think Magnetic Theft gets a lot worse, because we have so many. I like how this deck is Core Tribal, too, by the way. Because we have Core Outfitter, Firewalker, Stoneforge, Mystic, Duelist. Fair. I think we're actually going to cut our protection spells. I don't think it's super relevant that we have them. And I'm going to cut maybe 2 Magnetic Theft. That might be wrong, but I feel like with things that have protection from red, you should not have red spells that you want to target your own creatures with. Alright, Reveal Lurrus. Core Firewalker. Steel Shaper's Gift, and Magnetic Theft. Alright. Opponent starts Mountain. We untap, we draw a second Firewalker, so it should be very difficult for our opponent to win. We will Steel Shaper's Gift, and we're going to get Shadow Spear. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a second Mountain. Well, start Firewalker. There is that Devoid Burn spell that can sweep the board, Kozilek's Return, and then there's also the 2 mana, 2 damage to a single target one that can kill Core Firewalker. But at the same time, I don't think my opponent has one. Or if they have one, they only have one and not the other. They probably only have a singleton to begin with. Yeah, we'll play a Shadow Spear. My opponent probably has a Smash to Smithereens, but we have 2 Firewalkers, so we're probably fine. Shatter Spree. We will use Core Firewalker's ability. Say always yes, always yield. Alright, goodbye Shadow Spear. Untap. Draw Burrenton Forge Tender. Play Stoneforge. But it bolts it. That's fine. This is how Burn loses. Get a Colossus Hammer. Play Forge Tender. Go to combat. Attack for 4. Oh, opponent is Obosh Burn, so there was no Smash to Smithereens. All their cards are odd. I didn't even see that. Opponent concedes. Yeah, when your entire deck is red, and your opponent's played 3 creatures that gain life and have protection from red, you're probably going to lose. But, okay. Magnetic Theft only slightly awkward, but that's why we went down the number of Magnetic Thefts we were playing. I'll see you guys in round 3. Hopefully the message saying encoding overloaded is not bad for this recording. Alright. Round 3, here we go. So reveal Luris. We have everything but a great creature to stick a hammer on right now, so... Opponent starts Flooded Strand. Okay. Well, we got Core Outfitter. So start Colossus Hammer. Pass the turn. Opponent fetches up a Plains. Good choice in Plains. Opponent plays a Sacred Foundry. And passes. We untap, we draw Giver of Runes. Yeah. Let's bait some removal here. Opponent is in the colors of Path to Exile and Bolt. Okay. Opponent bolts Giver of Runes. That's why we played it first. Opponent plays Cavern Naming Angel. Okay. Did not expect that. Resplendent Angel. Okay, we draw Brave the Elements. So, play Core Outfitter. Pick up Colossus Hammer. Pass the turn. We do have Brave the Elements for protection. Opponent plays Flooded Strand. Second Resplendent Angel. We attack for 3. No blocks. We untap. Draw Plains. Play a Plains. Steel Shaper's Gift. Colossus Hammer. Play Colossus Hammer. Suit up the core. Go to combat. Attack for 22. I'm trying to see if my opponent will just block or if they have removal. Okay, opponent blocks. That Flooded Strand is like screaming Path to Exile at me. Okay. Well, if my opponent taps out for a big angel, they just lose. Marsh Flats crack. So I expect a Baneslayer or like a Lyra here. Yep. Alright. Man. That guy dual-wielding Colossus Hammers. It's like Dark Souls power-stancing Demon's Great Hammers. Is maximum intimidation. Okay, we draw Core Duelist. So, Brave the Elements. Pro-white. Go to combat. Attack for 22. And we've turned our opponent into a smear on the floor. Perfect. I mean, you get hit by a core wielding 2 Colossus Hammers, and you are strictly 2-dimensional. So... Okay, so our opponent is playing red and white. I think I do want paths. You know what, maybe not. I think we're probably set up as good as we can be here. We're just going to run it back. I'm sorry, I did pick a deck that's kind of a short video this time. Because, like, whether we win or lose, it generally happens very fast. Yesterday, I recorded, like, 2.5 videos and then did a 3.5-hour stream where I was speaking a ton. So I'm kind of trying to rest my voice a little bit, and I figured the best way to do that would be to play a deck that is going to get most of the content done quickly this time. Alright. Reveal Luris. I mean, this hand will work. It's kind of nice because our opponent's playing a deck where the creatures... It's like red-white control. The earliest creature they play is a 3-drop. Play Sigarda's Aid. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Clifftop Retreat into a Maze Mind Tome. I think that's an excellent addition in that deck. I'm really glad that Wizards printed a card like Maze Mind Tome and that they stuck it in a core set of all things. Okay, so we get Colossus Hammer. Pass the turn. Opponent Maze Mind Tome, they scry. Lightning Helix. Okay. So we're just going to basically charge up a whole bunch of Colossus Hammers in hand. Play Sacred Foundry. Play Stoneforge. Tutor up a Colossus Hammer. Honestly, I think this deck ought to have a, what's it called? A Flare Husk in it. Okay, opponent scries off of Maze Mind Tome. I realized I shouldn't F6 because these hammers have are flash right now. They have instant speed on them, basically. Due to Sigarda's Aid. They are instant speed, they have flash on them. That's what I was trying to say. So they scry 1 to the top. That does not inspire confidence. Opponent paths. Well, we can't protect from that right now. Okay, opponent gets a field. Well, we don't have a mountain, but we also don't need magnetic theft. So, play Flooded Strand. Steel Shaper's Gift. We'll go get Swiftfoot Boots. Steel Shaper's Gift. We'll go get Colossus Hammer number 3 and pass the turn. We're going to fetch before our turn. Okay, opponent draws a card. We get stomped. Okay. I think my opponent brought this in. If they weren't playing at main deck, they brought this in because we might be playing like core and stuff. It can't target the pro-red creatures, but it can kill them in combat with the stomp effect. Okay. So we will fetch a Sacred Foundry tapped. Untap. We draw another Sigarda's Aid. Play land tapped. Play Sigarda's Aid. So we're now seeing the problem with not having a bunch of Inkmoth Nexus in this deck is that if we don't draw creatures, we're screwed. I really think we do need a single Flayer Husk in this deck. It's an equipment that we could tutor up with Steel Shaper's Gift or Stoneforge, and it can wield Colossus Hammers, though a little awkwardly, but... Okay. We take 4 and go to 11. Okay, opponent cracks Marsh Flats. Alright, we untap. We draw Core Outfitter. Play Colossus Hammer. Play Core. Suit up Colossus Hammer. We're trying to bait removal, which is why I'm playing this a little bit weird. Okay, pass the turn. The only way this goes wrong is if my opponent has multiple paths, or if they try and path on their turn rather than our end step or something. Oh, perfect. Okay. So Swiftfoot Boots. Now this has Hexproof. And Colossus Hammer. Now this is big enough to kill them. Now we just need a protection spell and our opponent to attack and have no other, not multiple colors of creature, and we're fine. Take 5, go to 3. Uh-oh. They have untapped red mana and we have 3 life. Damn it, it's always Bolt. Always Bolt. Well, considering the amount of red removal they have, maybe we should be playing like Firewalkers and stuff. I'm gonna try 2 Forge Tenders over Magnetic Thefts. I forgot about Lurrus again. I know people are gonna be yelling at me for that, too. Because there was a good period of time where we had the mana and everything. Okay, reveal Lurrus. Here's what I'm gonna do. Put that right there. Then I'll remember. Alright, we'll keep. Unfortunately, we don't have a 1-mana creature. But fortunately, we do have an Inkmoth Nexus. So start Inkmoth Nexus, play Colossus Hammer. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent plays a Marsh Flats. We untap. Play Inspiring Vantage. Play Spellskite. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Marsh Flats. Gets a Sacred Foundry tapped. Untaps. If they play a Maze Mind Tome or tap out for any reason, they die. Okay. They lose. Untap. Play a Plains. Animate Inkmoth. Magnetic Theft. And the game is over. Alright, cool. We're 2-1. I'm really sorry that I forgot about Lurrus in match 2, or in game 2 of match 2. Match 3. I will do my best to remember that going forward. I'm gonna go spot check the recording now and make sure everything's okay. Alrighty, round 4. Here we go. So something I want to talk about a little bit. Strategy with this deck. The number one thing is how quickly can you assemble the combo, and then how much protection can you have for the combo. And about that, the number one, since you're not drawing a bunch of cards, the number one way that you figure that out is by mulliganing. So this is a deck that probably tests your mulligan skills more than most, which I guess is good for me right now. This is very close. If I had a hammer, I would keep. Or a Steel Shaper's Gift. This I can sort of work with. I'm going to keep, and I'm going to put back a Faith Shield. This is another hand where it's like, I wish I could go get Flayer Husk. So, start with Inspired Vantage, pass the turn. I'm going to place Grove of the Burn Willows. So this is... Oh, okay. This is probably some kind of Living End deck. I was originally going to play Colossus Hammer, Like, okay, so if I'd played Colossus Hammer on turn 1, our opponent would know what we're doing. I was originally going to play Colossus Hammer after drawing Sigarda's Aid or Magnetic Theft, but Core Outfitter demands that I play it before, which is a little awkward, but you need as much, like, I guess, shenanigans as you can get. So we're going to play Spellskite and see if we can't draw a third land to put Colossus Hammer on Core Outfitter after the fact. So my opponent is probably playing Electro Dominance Living End. Grove of the Burn Willows is slightly interesting. It is a very powerful free mana source. It does you don't pay anything, you give things to your opponent, and that is a much stronger it is a much weaker restriction on the person playing it, because you are not paying any resources. This is effectively free, which is one reason why Grove of the Burn Willows is so strong. There are also things that punish life gain, which is why this effect has like never been seen on any other land. Why it's basically only on the Future Sight version. So my opponent is telegraphing pretty hard that they have some kind of they probably have Simian Spirit Guide Violent Outburst, but I don't think we can afford not to do this. So we're going to Core Outfitter and equip Colossus Hammer now. Opponent, if they do have Simian Spirit Guide Violent Outburst, or Simian Spirit Guide, or just Electro Dominance Living End, yeah, they're going to do it now after Core Outfitter has resolved and equipped. Okay, opponent cycles Monstrous Caryatid. That probably means they do not have it. They're just cycling cards right now. Yep. Okay, I don't know if we have any Grave Hate. Okay, opponent is cycling like a fiend. We untap. We draw Sigarda's Aid. Go to combat. Attack for 12. Simian Spirit Guide. Cycles Horror of the Broken Lands. Okay, so they have Violent Outburst then? Yep. So our opponent cascades into Living End, puts all the creatures in their grave onto the battlefield. Alright, that does spell a bit of trouble for us. So I don't think we can actually survive. Yeah, our opponent has a lot more than our life total and damage. Even if we have a single blocker, it's not going to be enough. Okay. So we gotta be fast. Grand Abolisher seems kind of good in this matchup. They can't cascade on our turn if we have it. And I kind of want Path, but at the point where my opponent is resolving creatures, we've either lost all of ours and all of our clock, or it's probably not going to matter anyway. So I'm not actually going to bring in Path, but I will bring in Grand Abolisher. And I'm going to drop, I think, some of our removal here. Brave the Elements might be better than Emerge Unscathed. Originally they were Apostle's Blessing and 2 Giver of Runes, but I don't have the Givers, which is one reason why our creature count's a little bit lower. But also, I tried to diversify, like, Emerge Unscathed is card advantage because it has Rebound. Faith Shield can target any permanent to give it protection, so we could protect our equipment if we had to. And then Brave the Elements is all of our creatures, because all of our creatures are white, except Inkmoth Nexus. Alright, we're going to run it back like this. Boros Charm wouldn't do anything, because Indestructible doesn't matter if your opponent forces you to sack your board. Alright, we'll play first. Reveal Lurrus. Alright, we'll keep. Opponent mulligans to 6 cards. This Core Outfitter is a little awkward with an Inkmoth Nexus in hand. So, start Steel Shaper's Gift, get a Colossus Hammer, pass the turn. Opponent starts Black Cleave Cliffs. We don't have to worry about removal quite as much. Mainly because... Alright, we're going to play Inkmoth Nexus, Colossus Hammer, and Giver of Runes. We don't have to worry about removal quite as much. Living End is their removal, basically. They can't play cards that cost 3 mana or less than 3 mana without potentially cascading into it and not Living End. Are they Violent Outbursting now? Fulminator. Okay. Fulminator is bad. But it might not be the end of the world. We'll play Core Outfitter. Equip Colossus Hammer. We're just going to equip to Giver so we can attack this turn. This basically will force our opponent to either play a creature or Cascade now. Bad luck on the Fulminator. I forgot that they ran that, but at the same time, it's not something we could have played around. Opponent Shriek Maws. Okay. So we could top deck Sigarda's Aid. We could top deck another Core Outfitter. Flooded Strand does not do it. Play Flooded Strand. Let's go ahead and steal Shaper's Gift. We're going to go get Swiftfoot Boots. Crack Flooded Strand. Get Sacred Foundry untapped. And we're going to play Swiftfoot Boots. My logic behind this is if we play a Core Outfitter, we can suit up with Colossus Hammer and then equip Swiftfoot Boots and win the game with haste. Basically, any creature we have in our deck is now a threat. We needed red mana in case we needed to draw Magnetic Theft. Our opponent is going down to 5. We draw Brave the Elements. Go to combat. Attack for 2. And we'll take our opponent to 3. Almost wish we had a way to sacrifice or kill this Core Outfitter in response, because then we could just suit up a big creature after our opponent cascades. So they're going to Violent Outburst and get back some big creatures, but at the same time, we are going to get back a Giver of Runes, which is kind of nice. Okay. Brave the Elements, we'll name black. Equip. And equip. Or we'll play this. Okay. Giver of Runes cannot protect itself, but it does have Hexproof and Haste now. Our opponent can Fulminator Mage our Sacred Foundry, which does suck, but at the same time, there's not much we can really do about that. If they... I mean, they will after combat, probably. I was going to say if they don't right away, but that doesn't really matter. Okay. Opponent attacks for a lot. We go to 5. I don't know why they wouldn't attack with Fulminator there. Like, we're tapped out. There's nothing we can have as far... Like, to my knowledge, that would matter. They want a blocker. Okay. So, equip to give it Trample and Lifelink, and Magnetic Theft. That might be enough. If my opponent can cascade into another Living End, that would be basically how they get out of this, but they would have to have a second Violent Outburst. Awesome, we got there. Yeah, I don't think we do anything else. We're just gonna run it back. So for those of you that don't know what Cascade is when you cast the spell, it triggers, and you reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal a spell that costs less, and then you cast it without paying its mana cost. It was originally a, this is very close. I might just keep this, but it might be too slow. We have to draw a creature, and that's what we've been struggling with. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, this hand is actually significantly better. I'm going to keep, and we are going to put back Stoneforge Mystic. Yeah. Okay. Cascade was originally a Alara block mechanic, and it only appeared on cards there and Shardless Agent, which was a commander product printing. The effect is very powerful, but the cards that it's on are very not great. There's also Throes of Chaos, which they printed in Modern Horizons that does have Cascade. Okay, opponent cycles Desert Ceradon. We draw another Core Duelist, so I'm going to start Core Duelist. Pass the turn. This is a turn 3 kill if we draw another white source and our opponent does not Cascade first. Okay, opponent evokes Shriekmaw. We untap. We draw Spellskite. So, play Inkmoth Nexus, steal Shaper's Gift. If we draw a red source, pretty sure we can win, unless our opponent has a Violent Outburst, of course. So, get Colossus Hammer, play it, pass the turn. Opponent plays Grove of the Burn Willows. Alright, well, we're not going to not go for it, so fetch for Sacred Foundry. Animate Inkmoth. Our follow-up to this is pretty good. Go to combat. Attack. Okay. So our opponent has to have Violent Outburst right now. This is not a May, so they'll kill their own Desert Ceradon. Okay. And we'll get back a Core Duelist, which we can suit up next turn. Okay. We have to sack Inkmoth. Oh, actually shoot, Shriekmaw can kill Core Duelist, for reasons I just stated. Alright, so that doesn't do anything. So we're taking 12 here. We don't have a way to gain life. Alright, in that case, it's probably just game. Play Core Duelist, and then we'll play Core Outfitter. We might be able to block enough. I have a Beast Within. Okay. Alright, pass the turn. So we can't block Shriek Maw, and we have to block Ceradon. So we block with Core Outfitter. Okay, we go to 1. I'm going to place Fulminator, which greatly reduces our ability to win. Draw Plains, and that's the game. There's nothing we can do. It's really unfortunate. We basically needed Magnetic Theft and then the Shadow Spear, but we were close. If our opponent hadn't had the Violent Outburst, they had to have exactly Violent Outburst, as that's the only instant speed Cascade spell they play. If it had been Demonic Dread, or I don't think they play Ardent Plea. There's one more I'm forgetting that they could be playing. Alright, round 5, here we go. Reveal Lurrus. Well, we've got the Duelist, and we've got the Hammer, but this is much better. We'll keep this. I'm going to put back, I guess, a Stoneforge Mystic. Opponent starts Polluted Delta. We will start Sigarda's Aid. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent gets a Watery Grave untapped, so this will be Death Shadow. Oh, this is something else. I don't know what yet. Rogue Mill? Yep, Rogue Mill. So here's hoping they don't have Surgical. Play Stoneforge. We will get Colossus Hammer. Pass the turn. Okay, they play Darkslick Shores. Drown in the Lock. Okay, we untap. We draw Steel Shaper's Gift, once again wishing that I had Flayer Husk in the deck. Okay, opponent Archive traps us. So we're going to have to be very careful not to search our library in upcoming games. Inquisition. Opponent takes a Hammer, probably. They could take Magnetic Theft and Surgical Hammer, and we would be done. Okay, opponent plays a land tapped. Gets in for 3. We go to 11. So fetch. Watery Grave tapped. Untap. Draw another Sigarda's Aid. Play it. Play Plains. Pass the turn. But short of like top decking a Core Duelist and our opponent not having anything, we're probably done. Alright, we untap. Drawing only lands. Okay, opponent picks up their own Lurrus. Oh, that's right, we have Lurrus. Take 3. Untap. Spellskite. Play Spellskite. Okay, opponent counters. Play Flooded Strand. Put Lurrus into hand. Turn too late. Totally forgot about that. Oh, it's horrible. It's the one thing that freaking Magic Arena does better than Magic Online is tell you what cards you can and cannot cast. Okay, opponent plays their own Lurrus and a Polluted Delta. They are out of cards. We draw Giver of Runes, which we will play. We will play Lurrus. And play Colossus Hammer out of our grave. Suit up Lurrus. So now it depends on whether or not my opponent top decks removal, because this only lets them play permanents. It doesn't let them do it on our turn. Opponent fetches to thin their deck. Alright, we'll chump. Untap. Draw Stoneforge. So, play Shadow Spear. Suit up Lurrus. Go to combat. Attack for a lot of trample. As long as their last card's not a removal spell that hits Lurrus, we're fine. Play Colossus Hammer. Suit up Lurrus. Are you kidding me? Crypt Incursion, okay. Well, it doesn't kill us. They just gain a ton of life. Play Stoneforge. Opponent doesn't have any cards in hand, so searching here should be fine. We'll get the last hammer. Pass the turn. That should do it, though. I don't think they can mill us out unless they draw Mind Funeral. Okay, no attacks for our opponent. We untap. We draw Core Duelist. So, play Swiftfoot Boots. They're going to Mission Briefing for Drown in the Loch. I don't think that saves them. We didn't search our deck, so they can't just mill us. Okay, they choose Drown in the Loch. They need to counter this, though. Or they could kill Luris, I suppose. Yeah, actually that's okay. So Swiftfoot Boots resolves. No, and no. Play Duelist. Equip Duelist. Play Colossus Hammer. Alright. So our opponent is on mill, and we need to not search our decks as much as possible. I am going to bring in Grand Abolisher, and I finally remembered Luris. Alright, so I'm going to take out, I think, Brave the Elements and Faith Shield. We're going to try it like that. Grand Abolisher is just so they can't archive trap us on our turn, because most of our search is sorcery speed. It just makes it a little bit harder for them to do that. Alright, reveal Luris. Alright, well, we have almost all of the combo and some protection. This opponent's going to start Darkslick Shores and Hedron Crab. We untap and draw Sacred Foundry. So play Inspiring Vantage. We're going to play Core Duelist. Pass the turn. This leaves open the ability to top deck Hammer. Okay, opponent's going to mill us for a lot. Hammer, Inkmoth, Spellskite. We were going to top deck Hammer. Plains, Magnetic Theft, Hammer. Glimpse. That's 3 of 4 hammers. Alright, play Sacred Foundry. We are going to Stoneforge because we want the last hammer in hand. This turns on an unknown number of archive traps. Take the hammer. Pass the turn. Yep, that's 1. There goes Shadow Spear, so no more no more trample shenanigans. Okay, another fetch land for our opponent. Okay, and a Mesmeric Orb. Play Sigarda's Aid, Spellskite. Trying to leave up protection through like 1 removal spell here. But we might just be dead. Okay, opponent mills us for 3 more. Theft, Flooded Strand, Outfitter. Okay, opponent untaps, mills 3 of their own cards. They mill Trap, Inquisition, and Swamp. Inquisition. So we need Luris to get back a hammer. Hideaway land probably means we're just dead. Okay. We untap, mill 3. Play Flooded Strand, crack Flooded Strand, get a Plains, pick up Luris, pass the turn. There's exactly 1 way we can win, and it's no longer a thing. Damn. I was going to say we had to play Luris, attack with everything, and then our opponent has to not block Core Duelist, and we have to suit that up at instant speed. It's the only way that works. So, okay. Going on to game 3, we're hoping our opponent's opener is a little less resilient, a little less fast. He also milled 3 of our hammers immediately, so that made things a little bit tough. We'll play first, reveal Luris. 1 land, Steel Shaper's Gift, Core Outfitter. That's probably good enough. We're going to keep with 7. Start Duelist. Pass the turn. We do need to draw a 2nd land. Okay, opponent plays Polluted Delta, cracks it, Watery Grave, Inquisition. Fatal Push, okay. Well, that makes things slightly harder. There's the hammer. So, Steel Shaper's Gift, get another hammer, pass the turn. We just need another Plains. It's not that hard of a draw. Inkmoth Nexus, okay. Play Spellskite, pass the turn. Another Fatal Push. But a cracks Flooded Strand, gets another Watery Grave, untapped. Thieves Guild Enforcer mills us. Okay. Second main phase, they're playing something. They decide against it. They probably have Glimpse the Unthinkable in addition to the counterspell Drown in the Loch. So, play Grand Abolisher. This card's a personal favorite of mine. I never get to play him in anything, so I saw this list random and I was like, yeah! Alright. Play Colossus Hammer. We just need to draw one land, and our opponent has to not have a removal spell. Glimpse the Unthinkable. We mill a lot. Alright, come on, land. Untapped land, please. They're going to Surgical Magnetic Theft. Well, we don't have any red. You should have hit Core Outfitter if it was there. It was not there, okay. Okay, untapped land. Close. We're going to play another hammer. Play Outfitter. Put the hammer on the Outfitter. Pass the turn. There's the land. Fire up Inkmoth. See if they've got the removal. Okay, they do have the counter. Go to combat. Attack. Opponent should block here, yeah. Okay, they take one infect. We just need another Outfitter. Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. We're gonna play a Mystic, but we're gonna decline to search. Play Swiftfoot Boots. I'm gonna Drown in the Loch's Mystic. That's 3 of 4 Drown in the Lochs. Alright. Mesmeric Orb. Okay, we're gonna mill quite a bit here. We just need to draw a Core Outfitter. We mill Plains, Flooded Strand, Sacred Foundry, and Spellskite. Draw an Inspiring Vantage. I'm not going to play this because it makes us mill. I don't think there's any reason to be attacking for 1. Our opponent's clock is probably faster than ours. And they could have Fatal Push, I guess. Yeah, we're just going to wait. They've already Surgical Magnetic Theft, so we don't need red mana for anything. Okay, opponent Ancestral Recall. Or, no. Yeah, Ancestral Recall. They mill Inquisition, Archive Trap, and Surgical Extraction. They play a crab. Inquisition, see that we're holding a land. They play Field. Alright. Core this turn, now or never. Mystic. That doesn't do anything. So, play Mystic. I'm not gonna search. Give it Hexproof. I guess we could technically be trying to play lands to get up to just raw equip Colossus Hammer. But with Mesmeric Orb... Alright, fine. Pass the turn. Don't think it's good. Opponent mills Hedron Crab and Glimpse. We're milling 6, 10 total, so we'll be down to 13. There's our other Outfitters, so I think that's the game. Especially because our opponent could just activate Field of Ruin. Yeah, there goes the other hammers, but we have no way left to equip them, I don't think. Get a Plains. Opponent mills us for 3 more. I mean, I guess we could potentially play Luris. Oh, double Mesmeric Orb, we're just dead. Yeah, okay. You got me, opponent. I was gonna say, like, if they didn't have the second Mesmeric Orb, we could have gotten Luris, played Luris, and, like, played Aid, and then equipped and maybe killed our opponent, but... No. That deck could have very easily gone 4-1, with slight tech choices, more Inkmoth Nexuses. If you want to build this deck, I highly recommend cutting 3 Plains, playing 3 more Inkmoth Nexus, because that gives you just 3 more creatures that can kill your opponent on turn 3. The only reason I'm not is because I don't have them. I also would recommend dropping probably... Well, playing 2 more Giver if you have them over the protection spells here. The last protection spell was an Apostle's Blessing, basically because it could be cast off of an Inkmoth Nexus rather than just white mana. But I would probably trim a Spellskite and play a Flayer Husk, because there were so many times we could tutor for equipment that we just couldn't hit a creature. So, if you don't want to play the Luris version of this, it would require some major restructuring, because you do want to be playing things like Batterskull in that regard, but nope. I don't have too much else to say. I think this deck is pretty good. It does have some real raw power, it's super fast, and this is not the optimum version of it, so take that as you will. If you enjoyed this content and you want to see more like it, please leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. It'd mean a lot to me if you did. You can also follow me on Twitch. Same username on Twitch as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we have a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.